What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you back to another episode of San Diego Prep Insider. Always great to have a wrestler on the show because they are one of the least appreciated high school sports here in San Diego. We got one of the best in San Diego. It's Kev Clements, or Kevin, or the Kevaruski, or the Kevarino, or whatever you want to call him. But what you have to call him is a Division I bound athlete and one of the best here in San Diego to do it. He's currently at Saint Augustine. Took me a long time to say Augustine correctly. And is headed to San Francisco State. We got a lot I want to talk about, including you seem to be a dog person. I like dogs. I like dog people. But let's start with your commitment to San Francisco State. I'm curious, what did it for you on choosing SF State?
There were a couple of things. The first of which was the coaches. I love them. I tore my ACL and my MCL partially through my recruiting process, and I told a lot of coaches, and a lot of them kind of backed off, or they were weary. But the first thing that came out of the San Francisco State coach's mouth was like, I'm sorry that happened. We're still here for you. You know, we believe in you. You can recover." And it was just support. And that's the kind of guy I want in my corner. I don't want the guy who's going to jump ship on me.
So it was nothing but love coming from that coach at what was one of the worst times in your life. And you said, hell yeah, I'm ride or die with you guys now. Yeah.
I signed that night. We got off the phone. I said, send me the letter of intent and I'll put it into paper tonight.
So injured knee, still like you're still hurt with the signing, or you have healthy, you've gotten all healthy now.
I still have to get surgery to patch that one up, but I'm going to try and push that off till after the season and pull a Spencer Lee.
All right. Well, there's a whole other thing there about how wrestlers are infinitely more tough than almost everyone except for water polo players, but we'll get to that in a second. So this was something that this school was always on your radar, and then they jumped to number one, or were they like not even close to one of your pick? Like, I'm curious because you say you talked to a lot of schools. You obviously had interest. You obviously were having conversations. Where did SF State rank before that interaction with the coach?
They were like in that front runner, but I was looking at Ryder, I was looking at SF State. There were a couple schools, but it was one, the proximity as well, but they they that really just put them over the line for me, and made me feel really comfortable with that choice.
So then maybe you can give some advice to some younger student athletes. It doesn't have to specifically be wrestlers, but there are some that'll be watching this, eighth graders through junior year. Like if they're kind of in that, maybe they have an injury or they have a setback or they just are a little lost on the recruiting process. Now that you're done, signed and delivered, what would be some advice that you would give?
Um, just just focus on what you're doing. If it's wrestling, just wrestle. You know, so some people get so hung up on the recruiting, and if you do your best, you put your heart and soul into it, like it'll come, but you have to focus on the results, and then that's that natural next step.
Well, then let's focus on the results. Wrestling as a sport is a little bit different than a lot of the other high schools. It's kind of like track in that you can have individual success without team success. You can have team success without individual. Like, you can have someone like RB or Poway or someone shows up with every weight class accounted for, and they will win a meet without necessarily having like an elite wrestler or something along the lines. And it's sometimes hard to be like, okay, I can wrap my mind around, I'm talking to like, this guy is one of the best, even though the team is not necessarily deep enough to be winning and housing CIF champions. So for you guys as Saints, for you specifically as a wrestler, how's this year going?
Um, as we went into the season, I was ranked seventh in the state, and I was pretty pumped up. You know, I took sixth at Freak Show, which is a national off-season tournament, and I felt myself turning that corner. And then I got hurt, but um, I anticipate getting back in. But being at Saints, it's a tricky dynamic sometimes because it's not a wrestling school. You know, we can be honest about that, and it's not a Poway or an RB where you're gonna go win these tournaments, but if you focus on yourself and you have a good practice partner to keep pushing you, I feel like it's something you can overcome.
Well, I don't know if
And
the name Shane Hansen means anything to you. Kid from Oceanside, maybe graduated 2-3 years ago. And he was my foray into this where like people kept saying, you got to go check out this kid at Oceanside. But I'm like, I don't see Oceanside winning anything. And then all of a sudden he was like 2 or 3 state tournaments in a row. And I really did sort of come to realize like it can be a bit of a lonely journey, even though you're part of a team. So for wrestlers, how do you do like it seems hard to show up every day and grind and grind and grind and grind when you're just like I can't worry about the rest of the team because I can't be out there on the mat with that. Like, is that hard as a mental dynamic to be part of a team, but you also got to be an individual? What's that like?
Yeah, it's tricky because you want to put the weight that you're carrying on everybody else too, but you can't if people don't want to succeed and they don't want to put in the work to that same degree that you have to. I don't know. Growing up, my mom always told me you can't change people. You can only change how you react to them. And it's kind of like you just got to put your head down and do the absolute best that you can do, and that's all you can do. Like for example, I went to Freak Show in the off season, and Saints is such a small little program. I didn't go with a coach, so I just went there and was kind of like, "Hey, Coach Jesse from Granite, man, you remember me? Let's come on, get in my corner," you know, or
You had to play as a
it's
free
things
agent.
like that. Yeah, and I really thought about transferring to RB for my senior year, but ultimately, I'm glad I stayed at Saints. All things considered,
All things considered, indeed.
don't fall to the Enterprise.
Exactly. The Saints experience, I think a lot of people throw the cliche, oh, it's an all boys. Like there's so much stupid. Like, get out of here with all that nonsense. The Saints experience is you guys are perpetually one of the better student sections, one of the more intense groups of dudes. Have you spent time in the pit over the last 4 years? And what is that chaos like from the inside? Because I'm judging, and these are going to get cropped out because I can't have a Coors banquet
Oh,
flag.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. But judging from the banners that are above you, you've got a Saturdays are for the boys. You look like the kind of guy that enjoys a good student section. What has it been like being part of the pit?
I love it because it's I know everybody says this, but you really all come together as a class. Like I'm a wrestler, he's a football player, he plays lacrosse, and you could be at school and you're hanging out with different people, you do different activities, but genuinely everyone comes to the pit and just has fun and screams and yells and cheers on their brothers.
It also seems like there's a level of organization and enthusiasm from the pit. It's not just, oh, like we show up and we get loud. Like you guys seem to know what you're doing, know how to properly cheer. You come coordinated with like outfits and you're all waving left and right and up and down. It seems like you guys are that next level. Do you get to participate in that as much with your knee, or are you now a fringer, more like you got to be in the safe zone on the outsides for this
I've
basketball?
been I've been getting in there and pumped up, and it's one of
Oh
those
God.
things where it's like if I can expect myself to wrestle, I feel like I can expect myself to cheer on my teammates and my brothers.
So what you're saying is that every time your coach is at an event and he sees you, you're adding one more gray
Oh, running for the
every
hills.
time. Oh my God. See, this is why wrestlers are a different breed, folks. Kid's got a messed up knee, and he does not want to miss a single Jury and Dixon layup all season long. What is there a chosen, like, you guys do themes per game or anything like that, or is there
Yeah,
a theme that you are most looking forward to the rest of this basketball season? You're like, that's gonna be a good one.
I don't really have one picked out, to be honest with you.
Okay, I didn't know. You seem like you might have had a whole like Google Doc. I actually you're gonna physically like you seem
Yeah,
like
it's right up on the wall
good,
behind you.
deal. See, he gets the show. He plays along. Is the Holy Bowl, Holy War, whatever it's officially called, sport versus sport? Is that a thing in wrestling? Do you guys have Cathedral as the rival, or who is the rival for you personally, or like what's the main meat that you're like, hey, we're out for blood on that one every year?
I would say University City actually, and that's kind of a
Oh,
sleeper. That's a sleeper pick there.
that's
I'll
a
be honest with
rivalry
you.
I have not heard about yet. I like that. UC Saints wrestling. Let's cook up some beef.
And that's we're in the same league, and we go pretty toe to toe because we have Mir Mesa in there, and Mir Mesa will pretty much steamroll everybody else. But we'll give UC a run for their money pretty much every year, and they'll. I mean, last year they came and everyone in their student section had a shirt on that said "Beat Saints,"
Oh, you got under
and
their skin. You for sure got under their skin then. Let's go.
and 3 years ago we were in the conference championship, and it was when they won, they had a duffel bag in their student section, and we're all watching this, and they pull out champion conference champ shirts that they had pre-made, and so it's that just kind of sparked a little rivalry there, where it's like you got to be some kind of confident to print out shirts before you win.
I'm getting angry just thinking about that. I'm also thinking about the number of times they had to do that where those shirts then got donated to other
But
places because not necessarily yeah, the football team's great, Sam Cooper, whatever. The UC is not necessarily housing championships. We look forward to your letters. All right, so the UC meet is what you're going for this year. Dude, I appreciate you giving us some of your time. I like always closing with, for the seniors, what are you going to miss? Like, I know that's a super, super loaded question, and there is not a amount of time in the world that I could have sent you in advance. Hey, what are you going to miss? Prep for that question. But just knee-jerk reaction, like, what are you going to miss the most about your program, about Saints, about high school, about all of your experiences as a wrestler here the last couple of years?
I'm gonna say what I'll miss most is probably the camaraderie. Even if you're not on a team where you might not be winning that conference championship or you might not be the most powerhouse team, I think there's something about Saints where like these are the guys who are going to be the best man at my wedding in 30 years, 20 years. And wow, I'm already 17. It might be sooner than that,
I was
but
going to say, you just put yourself in getting married in your late 40s.
I know I didn't really do that math, but you really build brothers, and there's something that I'm really proud of to be on a team with these people.
Well, man, we really appreciate it. SF State is the Gators.
Yep,
So do we say, do you steal the Florida Gator chomp, or what is is it just go Gators? Is there a special thing that we have to say to you on the way out?
Chomp City, I guess.
Ah, Chomp City. I like it. I like that. Chomp City. Look for him dangerously near the middle of the pit all season long. Go check out that University City match. Thank you so much for being on with us. Remember, Saturdays are indeed for Kevin and the boys, and we look forward to watching you wrestle in college. Folks, there's a ton of great sports stars all across San Diego. It's just another one of the ones that you got to check out. Thank you so much for watching this episode of San Diego Prep Insider. We'll talk to you next time.